Hi, so this is Darrell White with Carte Blanche Media, and today I have as my guest Tyler with Align Profit. Tyler, thank you so much for being with me here today.
Hey, what's up, Darrell? Great to be here.
Great to see you. So my first question for you is, tell me a little bit more about yourself. And obviously, I know a little bit about you, but yeah, tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so I have always been an entrepreneurial type, like I'm sure a lot of people that you've interviewed on this podcast or this show. But the thing that I think is unique about me is I really have learned a lot about how, I guess one thing that's just interesting about me is I've really enjoyed the psychology side of marketing as well as the sales and the conversion side of it. And so as a kid, I would do a lot of door-to-door sales for my own things that I was doing, whether it be cookies or like corn stalks and all types of stuff. And so I've just always been doing that, but I've always found a fascination with people and what gets them to buy. And so that's, I think, why I've been into this space. But I'm currently a marketing director at Dr. EDS Innovations, which is a software company for dental products. And so we have a whole suite of dental products, from end user products to, we also have products for other people who sell to dentists. And so it's a lot of fun. I do that. And then I have my agency, which I started back in 2019, that services dentists. We help dentists to get more clear aligner starts through Facebook ads and different things. And so that's a little bit about me. I don't know what else to say really, other than I'm excited to be here, Darrell.
You kind of moved right into the next question that I had for you. So how'd you get started with building that agency? Like what made you go into dental? Let me ask you that, if I could.
Yeah, well, for anyone who's wanting to do an agency or wanting to do their own thing, one of the things that I learned from somebody, I think it was Alex Hermosi, and everyone knows Mosi, right? Mosi Nation. But he said something that I think is true, and that I instinctively did, is it's always good to start in an industry that you're familiar with and move from there, because if you're already familiar with the industry, then already know their pain points, you already know how they think. And so I grew up in a dental home, and so my dad owns his own practice, and so I started helping him as early as when I was 16 years old with marketing stuff. And so it just was a really natural fit for me. Now, dentists can be really difficult to sell to, but now actually that's one of the things that I do with Dr. DS is consult on how to sell a dentist. And we have a product called Sell a Dental. And you can actually go to selladental.com, and we have like a bunch of resources for people that are wanting to sell to dental offices and stuff. But a little plug there to that. But yeah, so it's just, start where you're comfortable. Start with an industry. I have a cousin who he knows the sheetrocking and the construction field, and so that's where he's doing his marketing agency. And so it really just is, you gotta, like, am I passionate about dentistry? I would say I've had to learn to be, because that's not necessarily something that I just am like passionate about naturally. I actually pretty squeamish around blood, and I wanted to be a doctor and decided not to, right? All that. So, but I would just say, find out something. You don't have to do what you're passionate about, but find a way to take your passion and then use it, like put it towards what you already know and what your foundation is.
Thank you. Yeah, that gave me a little bit more clarity there. So what would you say has been your biggest challenge since you started your agency?
My biggest challenge has always been that it's easy to be a perfectionist when you're starting out, or when you're wanting to build something like a business or a product or an agency, right? And so what I've found is the thing that I've had to really learn to overcome is get out of the planning phase and execute in small incremental steps instead of trying to do everything at once. Because if you try to make this like a massive thing, whether it be an agency, like you try to make your delivery process, your fulfillment process really complicated, then it's going to be hard for you to just get it out there and learn and pivot and shift as you get more clients and as you continue to move along. And so I've learned that with with Dr. EDS and being a marketing director there, I have to be really mindful of making the process really simple and then executing and then making the next iteration of it. And so I would say that it's really easy as an entrepreneur to have a lot of ideas, but what makes you great and will make you money is when you're able to execute. And just like Atomic Habits, if you've read the book, James Clear, start small and then go bigger and bigger until finally, you're like Amazon or Elon Musk or all the people that we all look up to, right? So that's the thing that I'm not perfect at that. I'm still learning it. I tend to be a dreamer and tend to be someone who looks to what I want to build a big picture. And it's also important that you surround yourself with people that are really good at finishing a project. If you're like me and you love to start things and you get like this dopamine rush of starting something new, you got to balance it out with someone who's less of a starter but more of a finisher. And ironically, that's like my wife. My wife is like that. All my best business partners, they're the finishers. They're not like necessarily the starters. But.
We are of the same minds, because I do start quite a few things. So what has been your biggest success then so far? What'd you say?
My biggest success, I would say, is probably what I'm currently doing right now, but also, like my agency is great. I'd say my biggest success is Dr. EDS. Working for them the last few months has been really, really awesome. So they have a lot of products. Like I'm not joking when I say like they have 76 products. And I joined the company and I was like, what? Like, how am I going to sell this? Because I'm very much like a person that, because of the way my brain works, like we were just talking about, if I don't have one thing I'm working on, I'm going to go in like 60 different directions. I'm not going to get anything done, all of that. Right. So I've had to learn. So I think my biggest success so far is just very recently, like in the last month or two, we've taken all of these different products and now we've rearranged the whole product offer to solve 3 problems. And we've bundled it and put it all into one thing. And so we made it simple and it's really cool. So I've had a lot of failures. I've tried a lot of things. As far as money, I think that one of the things that is easy to do is to just measure your success by money. And to be honest with you, I'm not where I want to be as far as money and making the money that I want to make. But as far as success, I would say, and that's definitely a measurement of success that I'm wanting to get to. But just with transparency, right? Like I've had to find ways to measure my success in other areas too, not just on revenue for my companies. And that's actually helped me to make more money, right? So
right. Okay. Well, I got another question for you. So right now, do you have a favorite marketing book or just business book in general that has helped you a lot here recently or always in business?
The book I always recommend is Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. It's a classic. It's an old one. I think I told you about that when we were working together, right? Yeah. I am obsessive over that book. I just think it's genius. First 3 chapters, everyone in the marketing advertising industry should read that. It's amazing. So
yeah, great book. Now, do you have a favorite podcast? You kind of hinted at something, but that kind of might lead into my next question. But
that I listen to? Business, I can't think of one off the top of my head. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts right now. I listen to more audiobooks and that type of thing. But it's more of like, I'm reading Traction right now, which that one's a good one. But I can't really. I like there's one that Taylor Welch from Traffic and Funnels did a while ago that I really liked. It was the Daily Mind Medicine. That's a really good podcast. But
Daily Mind. Okay. And do you have a favorite informative or business related YouTube or anything to that?
Yeah, I've also like recently. So I used to be very obsessive, and I spent a lot of time listening to content, and I dropped about $20,000 on courses my senior year of college, all on a credit card. I just was like, just like, let's go hard. And what I found is, and this is probably controversial, unpopular opinion here, But what I found is a lot of what I'm looking for, what I've been looking for in my life, I've been looking for external solutions to an internal problem. And I mentioned earlier that I'm not quite where I want to be as far as money or whatever. But I think that the reason for that has been not a lack of knowledge. It's been a lack of trust in my ability that's allowed me to go from what I like actually executing. And it goes back to like what we were talking about. And about like starting. I've started so many companies. I've tried so many things. I've read so many marketing books. I've spent, like I said earlier, I spent like $20,000 on marketing coaching from some of the best in the industry. And I'm like, wow, it really does show, in my opinion, that it doesn't matter about all of these. It doesn't matter about knowledge, really. It's applying that, but letting yourself be imperfect and imperfectly launch and not have everything. Because I've tended in the past to just wait for the perfect moment, right? And so that's what I would say is like, yes, I have things I've listened to, but I've just stopped doing it because it's not the lack of knowledge, it's the lack of execution, I think, that keeps most people in this day and age from reaching their goals. So
gotcha. Okay. I thought your answer was going to be Hormozy, since you mentioned him earlier, but we'll go ahead and skip that.
Well, he's great. Like I like Hormozy. I actually really like Russell Brunson. I know some people don't like his style, but I really appreciate him. I appreciate Eugene Schwartz and some of these older like people who have already passed on. Taylor Welch was one that I definitely followed for a long time, but lately I'm just kind of like, I don't have a marketing guru idol anymore. It's just I believe that sometimes we can get addicted to the like, oh, I need to learn more. Yeah, like I need to addicted to this idea of, okay, I gotta learn all this stuff and then I'll be successful. But really, like it's within, so.
Absolutely. I agree with you there. Has there been a most helpful resource for you or tool for your business in the past year? Anything that you use that, hey, this like helped a lot and helped me streamline a process or anything like that?
Yeah, I would say one of the tools I've used that really helps is Jasper. It's an AI copywriter tool. And I use that for all my copy I'm writing, for ads, for anything. And it really helps me to brainstorm ideas. And then I use my own knowledge and my own experience of what converts to then. So it just quickens the process. David Deutsch, who's a really great copywriter, he says that he says that he likes looking at copy that's already been written and then tweaking it. And that's what I found works best for me too, is having something on a page being like, oh, AI did pretty good on this, but I'm going to change this to the headline, or I'm going to tweak this phrase right here, or I'm going to add this benefit or subtract this claim because it's not, there's not a lot of belief there, right? So there's things like that you can do that, like, I like using automation in general. So like I love High Level. It's a great tool. I love this Jasper tool, but I think that we have to be really careful that we also don't become too reliant on those tools as well, because one of the things I've found is thoughtful automation or thoughtful artificial intelligence plus human connection. This is an equation that I've really been pondering on the last 3 months or so, equals launching a successful company, or a successful marketing campaign. Because these tools, I mean, there's also like Hyros, right? These other AI tools I found are really great, but at the end of the day, we still need human beings, not necessarily human doings. We need human beings. Like, that's so cheesy to say, but it's true, right? We need human beings to be behind the scenes and make it all come together, because we are just back to psychology part of this. We all know what it's like to be human. And so that's why with marketing and sales and conversion, we need to be present, because, and this I think is a kind of a hot topic right now, is like, like, our marketer is going to be out of a job because of all these artificial intelligence things. I don't think so, because we know what it's like to be human, and we feel the emotion that creates that buying process. Computers are ones and zeros, and then they'll never know what it's like to be human, right?
Gotcha. No, I hope that is correct as well, because then
Yeah.
you're gonna be out of roll there if AI takes over. But two more questions for you. The next question is kind of, what would you say is the most impactful piece of advice that you could give to somebody in marketing, or if you wanted to niche it down to like dentists and medical professionals trying to do their marketing? What's the most impactful piece of advice you can give them for somebody trying to improve their marketing?
Their marketing. Okay. That's a great question. I would say that the biggest advice I would give for marketing, specifically for anybody that is in the dental medical space, I do a lot there, or starting a SaaS company. I just talked to somebody about this just an hour or two ago, that they have a SaaS company that they're starting, or whatever, right? I would just say, I would say my first piece of advice comes from Marcus Aurelius, and it is, ask yourself always, is this necessary? Because we live in a world of more, and we live in a world of bigger and better, like I was saying earlier. And so a lot of times we create a lot of things that aren't necessary, that are buffering us from achieving what we want through the process of going through rejection and going through setbacks. And so ask yourself, is this necessary? That's number one. And the second thing I would do is always focus on the end user and their thoughts, their desires, their emotions they feel, and create it for them. Don't create it for you to feel like you're special or awesome or significant. Create it for them, and you will have money. And that's what I'm learning right now is create it for them, and then you'll be fine. But if you're creating it for yourself and it has selfish results is what you're looking for, then you're not going to have preeminence, is what J. Abraham calls it, which is the idea that you have their best interest. You have your prospect, you have your client's best interest at heart, which is integrity, in my opinion, really. So, which we need more of in this world, especially in the marketing and sales world. So that's my advice I would give.
My last question for you, sir, is how can people get a hold of you or learn more about you?
Right now, LinkedIn is probably the best place. So you can go to my LinkedIn profile. It's just so LinkedIn/in/T. So Tyler B as in boy Murdock, and that's my handle. So you can go and I've been posting content, so this might even end up on my wall there. So
great.
Anyways.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Tyler. It's been great speaking to you once again, and yeah, have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Darrell.